we could make a lot of happy families, right? Luke chapter 24. Luke chapter 24. So I use the U version Bible almost exclusively. U version, Y-O-U version. And I usually read out of the New Living Translation because it uses small words that I can understand. Amen, brother. So if you got that, you can jump over there. If you've got the fancy stuff, you'll have to explain it to me later. Luke chapter 24. Luke chapter 24. And we're just going to read the first few verses. You see, my message today is that the same power that took Jesus from dead for 3 days and brought him to life, God offers that same power to you. And I'm going to show it to you. And then you get an opportunity to accept that or not. When you accept it, the Bible says we call that faith. But you'll have a decision to make. Can God's power, the same power that took Jesus out of a grave, be in your life? And just for a minute, what could that possibly change life? A dead person out of a grave was in your life. Could that possibly change? Could it change anything in your life? You in the back, could it? I mean, think about it. I mean, we run to the doctor to get a couple pills. Make us feel better. Think about that power. Resurrection power in your life. All right. This is the first time we're going to see this. Let's look at it. Luke 24. Luke 24. But very early on Sunday morning, the women went to the tomb taking the spices they had prepared. See, they were in a haste to put Jesus on that cross, right? On Palm Sunday last week, we came out, we talked about how everybody was shouting, Hosanna, Jesus. 1 week later, they're like, hang him. People turn against you pretty quick. And they didn't get a chance because normally they'll put oils and spices on the body because that's all they had. They didn't have embalming fluid, at least not like the Egyptians did. And they would do that to help the body. I don't know. But they didn't have a chance to do that. And very early, suddenly appeared to them in dazzling robes. I don't know. You see an angel like And the women were terrified and bowed their faces to the ground. And the men asked, why? For someone that is alive. And unfortunately, sometimes we get some that are dead hanging out with the alive. And those are the ones we got to touch. He isn't here. He is risen from the dead. Remember what he told you back in Galilee? That the Son of Man died, and that he would rise again day 3, Sunday. And then they remembered and they rushed back to the tomb, or rushed back from the tomb. I used to. But I made a heck of a lot of mistakes. I hurt a lot of people. I hurt myself. At me. Doubt he could. I'm like, I don't know. In fact, my first year as a Christian, whenever I sinned, really. And I lived in an area where it was rainy, so I was always scared of lightning, seriously. It's about God. completely paid for all of that punishment. Put him at his right hand. He went from absolutely awful to absolutely amazing. And I started out with that the power of God that took Jesus from absolutely awful to absolutely amazing, if you choose to accept it, can be in your life. You can go from absolutely awful to absolutely amazing. Most of you guys are probably a biblical passage today. To us, it would be Lake chapter 1. I think that'd be kind of cool. The Americans, chapter 3. All right, so in the New Testament, second don't tell anybody that. Out. Second chapter 5. Second Corinthians chapter 5, verse 19. Listen to this. For God was he gave us this wonderful message. Go to him at any time. You should not wait till it gets better or you get better, because that's not how it works. I could not go to God I could not tell God I'll do it when I get better in my condition, because I had no power to do it. I couldn't. I would fail every time. It took his power. It took you just come. I'll take care of the rest. In fact, I'll give you power to help you be the best version of yourself. Okay, ready? Uno más. Ephesians chapter 1. Ephesians chapter 1. God will give you the same power that brought Jesus back to life. Did you hear that? The same power that brought Jesus back to life. wrote to the church in Ephesus. Ephesians chapter 1. Verse 19, okay? Ephesians chapter Paul, okay? He started this idea of gathering people in little communities. He started it around the Mediterranean rim and started all these churches. Like all the disciples were just still kind of like, I don't know, that radically changed him, telling everybody else about that encounter with Jesus, right? That's how it works. And he eat, they would worship God, they would read through the scriptures. And Paul here is writing them, and he's saying, listen, I pray for you all the time, and this is what I pray for. Ephesians chapter 1, verse 19. In fact, I'll give you a little secret. This one's free. It's a church. It's all free. Come on. I mean, we do have some mean-looking ushers when they pass them buckets. I will admit that. Okay, Ephesians chapter. That power of God is for you if you choose to believe. It's up to you. That means it doesn't depend on how good you are. He didn't say for those who are good, for those who don't smoke, for those who only drink occasionally. He doesn't say that. He doesn't say that. Most of us would be like, I'm out. Dang it. Right? For those of you that don't get mad and cuss, the power of God's for you. It doesn't say that. Right? What does it say? Who's the power of God for? Those who believe. You got to do is say, I believe. I accept that as true. I'll go on that. Count me in. Listen to this. I pray that you will understand the incredible greatness of God's mighty power that raised Christ from the dead and seated him in the place of honor at God's right hand in heavenly realms. You know, usually when you get out of jail, you're on probation, right? And if it was like real bad, you're in a special place for a little while before you just go into where you should be. He gave us life when he raised Christ from the dead. It gets a little bit better. It's only by God's grace you've been saved. In other words, God, you're his favorite. Say, I favorite. You ever had that friend that wins everything? Wins everything. I have no idea. I'm like, you're so lucky. He's like, no, I'm blessed, brother. Everything. Like, that's what favor is. Like, you always win. They always choose you. You always get the best spot. Always. Grace, his favor, that you've been saved. Look, here it is. Here it is. Verse 6. Remember what we just read. The Bible, the power of God took Jesus from the grave and set him far above everything that there is, right? Past, present, future. Verse 6. For he raised us from the dead along with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms because we are united with Christ. So it doesn't just get to the point where, you know, I'm down here. God is going to forgive me and help me out with my mess down here. That's not. He takes you from down here and he puts you right here with. And put you all the way to him, what can he do in your life? Think about it. Just think about it for a little bit. Think about it today later when you got some time after you're full of ham and taters. What can he do? What can all in your life? What do you want it to do in your life? Okay, a couple things you're going to think about, a couple things you're going to do. Do you want God's power in your life?